Sections from All for the Empire by Roger Traherne and Mark Child, The History of Swindon Theatre. Here we go. Would increase tenfold, the fee tenfold. He told the justices that theatres in other parts of the country did not have such restrictions imposed on them, withdrew his application for a universal licence and reapplied under the previous terms. The curmudgeonly magistrates decided to take the opportunity to give Manners a hard time. They reminded him that a circus was currently performing at the theatre, and the manager had failed to give the clerk to the justices that required 7 days' notice that the premises was going to be used under the music and dancing licence for other than stage plays, but had opened the theatre's bars. Discussions and arguments ensued on points of the law. Then A.E. Withy dropped a bombshell. He had information which had been given openly during another court case, that someone had gone into the theatre's bar without going into the theatre. Manners countered that it would be extremely difficult to ensure that this did not happen, given the nature of a theatre and the volume of patrons moving about it during interval. Furthermore, he pointed out such a situation would not matter had his original licensing application been granted. Begrudgingly, the magistrate decided to renew the Empire's liquor license on the same conditions as the previous year. The whole process, and in particular A.E. Withy's observations, had left Alfred Manners once more considering his future. In a way, he felt that he was letting down his patrons by not obtaining a full liquor license, and perhaps the time had come to pass on the theatre to someone who felt less personally involved than himself. He discussed the matter with his family and decided that he could not carry on. In March 1924, he wrote in the Swindon Evening Advertiser that he was thinking about disposing of the theatre, for which he had received several offers after leaving the town. Manners completely disagreed with A.E. Withy's interpretation of what constituted a stage play entertainment license as defined by the Theatres Act 1843. Hello viewers, please submit if you like it. This piece of legislation had attempted to sort out a melting pot of theatrical entertainment of one sort or another that then pertained among legitimate theatres. That's the book I'm reading, The History of Swindon Theatre. Oh no. I don't know where I am now. 1 minute. Hello viewers, The History of Swindon Theatre. Manners said that the licence he held from the Swindon Borough Council carried with it the right to serve a glass of beer to such patrons who required it during the performances. He had read the 1843 Act many times since he returned home from the hearing, and the more often he read it, the more he was convinced that it covered the kind of family entertainment he was currently presenting. He wrote, but even though a legal mind is able to interpret a different meaning into the 1843 Act, and advise the magistrates accordingly, may I, in all honesty, suggest to the licensing justices and to Mr. Withy that we have to adapt ourselves to the requirements of 1924. There was even a suggestion that he might abort his plans for redesigning the theatre, even at the 11th hour, with financial and building contracts in place. The observations of the bench through the borough magistrate's clerk had convinced me I haven't the confidence I feel I ought to have if I am to proceed with my one aim, to make my theatre a place that everyone can point to with pride. Manners felt that an obsolete Act of Parliament, such as no other body of men or women in any other town would dream of raising against a man who had worked very hard for the position he had attained, and who had done so much for the town, had scuppered his chance of turning the Empire into a first-class theatre. I am being restricted, he wrote, into putting on third-class and even worse plays simply because of a technicality. Yet, if he gave up, he said, it would hurt his family and himself. It would be a serious blow for the town. Employment would suffer, and so would other areas, for 75% of the money taken at the doors is actually respent in the town. It was calculated. If Hartley Manners knew that the people of Swindon, who regarded him well for himself and for the years of charity work he had undertaken, would be firmly on his side. They would think that the law was being stupidly applied by officials who were quite out of touch with what was expected by theatre audiences in 1924. Thank you, viewers. Please submit if you liked me reading this book, The History of Swindon Theatre, all for the Empire. It's too late for me to read much more. Thank you, viewers. Good night. God bless.